Okay, let's try this again. I've thought about this over the last few days, more or less, especially since after what happened last week. I've heard this term thrown around a lot in the last few years, especially here in the last couple of days, being that we live in two separate Americas. And of course, mainstream media wants you to think there's an America for white people, an America for black people, or people of color, as they like to say. And I'm here to tell you that you're half right. There's an America. There is two. And we do live in two separate ones, but it's not. It's ain't got nothing to do with skin color. It's got everything to do with which side you want. There's an America for the left and America for the right. They proved that to us this year, especially on the 6th. What did they do? And how did they prove that to us? One, what happened all summer? Starting back in May of 2020, what happened? Every other week, or it seemed like every other week, there was another protest that started a riot that ended in cities being burned, businesses being destroyed, lives being destroyed. But what do they call that? Every time, peaceful protest, or my favorite, no, this is the voice and the language of the oppressed. They stoked that fire all summer long, the whole time. And they got away with it. The left can do and say whatever they want. They can lie. They can make things up. They can cover things up. And they get away with it every single time because nobody is holding them accountable. Nobody. Not one individual. Well, sorry, with the exception of two on the 6th who attempted to hold them accountable. But that's for another video. They showed us that if you're on the left, you can do whatever you want. You can literally burn cities to the ground. Washington, D.C. itself was on fire. Buildings within 1 mile of the Capitol were burning to the ground. What did the left do? They raised money for bail to bail out everybody involved. Now, yes, I know somebody's going to come down here and tell me that was Antifa. They had nothing to do with it. It was not Black Lives Matter. Okay, if it wasn't them, and I do believe Antifa did most of it, then how come nobody from the higher ups of the organizations, at least no one that I saw, came out and condemned it? Nobody on the left came out and condemned the riots or the looting until it come to their neighborhoods. Then all of a sudden, they wanted it to stop. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Mayor Lightfoot of Chicago. Yeah, you, who let it go to the point that they were on your doorstep. Nancy Pelosi as well, until they showed up and vandalized her house. Then all of a sudden, rioting bad, they wanted it to stop. But then what happened on the 6th? Don't give me that bullshit that these people stormed the Capitol, broke a window, and somehow got in. No, they were let in. D.C. police opened the gate and opened the door and let them in the Capitol building. And I keep seeing people say that there were armed people in the Capitol. I didn't see one person inside that Capitol building, with the exception of police officers and Secret Service, armed with weapons. And when I say weapons, I mean, okay, I don't have a gun. I do not have a firearm in this room or in general. But something, like this that could cause physical bodily harm. You get what I'm saying? Now, yes, there was a couple dipshits running around in there with body armor and helmets. And I've seen a couple pictures of people weren't running around with zip cuffs. Again, and I have said publicly how dumb those people were for doing that. Because now everybody on the right is associated with them, with the violent ones, with the ones who did that, with the ones who made it into that building. They didn't break in. They were let in. This was a setup. It was a setup and it was a trap. And the right, we walked right into it. We did. But why did we do that? Because we had been lied to for so long. They amped it up for so long and got tensions up to here. And I'm telling you, they did not 100% get the result they were looking for that day. Well, okay. A few people got in the building and made asses out of everybody that was there, and it was peaceful. But then now, you want to say that those people were just allowed to walk out, police didn't do anything to them? You're full of shit. All of you who watched mainstream media that night, Fox, yeah, I'm calling out, yeah, you heard me, I said Fox, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, all of them didn't show you the full picture. There were two companies on the ground in DC that day, live streaming and filming the events as they unfolded. NTD News, which is the broadcasting arm of the Epoch Times, which you've been indoctrinated to believe that's nothing more than a right-wing think tank. It's not. It's a lie. They're not. They're calling people out as they see it, left and right alike. You just need to, see for yourself. And then there was Elijah Schaffer from Slightly Offensive from Blaze Media, who was on the ground. Same thing. Videotaping as things went down. He videotaped it. He got in the corner. He got inside the Capitol. He stood in the corner and he videotaped what these people were doing. He didn't take part in nothing illegal. He stood off in a corner and videotaped this mess. I did not see one person walk in that building with a weapon. But here we go. The left. On TV that night, telling the whole world that there were armed insurrectionists inside that building and they were in fear of their lives. You really honestly think, do you really think anybody with half a brain here, does anybody think that if there was a true coordinated effort to stage an insurrection and get inside that building, do you honestly think they would have walked out peacefully? No, they wouldn't have. They wouldn't have walked out peacefully. They would not have. The National Guard would have had to come in there and get them out. Because Capitol Police and DC Police wouldn't have been able to handle it on their own. Those people, most of them, willingly walked out. They walked in, they took selfies, and they left. So now, you're right, but you're half right. We do live in two different Americas. But it ain't got nothing to do with white, black, Hispanic, Asian. It don't matter. If you're on the right, it doesn't matter what color you are dead wrong. No matter what it is, you're dead wrong in their eyes. You will never be right or treated as equal, because in their minds you are somehow dangerous because of the way you think. Because you believe in the Constitution. You believe in the Bill of Rights. Most of you are God-fearing, Bible-reading Americans who were there, who went there to let your voices be heard. That for the most part, that's all any of them wanted. And by the way, when they got out and the Capitol Police showed up, you had kids, getting hit with tear gas and rubber bullets. I saw an old man on crutches who turned out to be an old veteran who was pushed to the ground by Capitol Police, caught on camera, on tape by NTD News. There were several veterans there who were hurt and injured during that mess. And I'm sorry, I stand by what I said. I do not think that the ones causing the problems there were fully from the right. I do firmly believe they were Antifa, and they were planted there to cause problems. They're the problem. Antifa is the problem. But only one side of DC wants to hold them accountable and put a stop to what they're doing, and that is the right. The left wants to use them as a weapon. Yeah, I said it. They want to send them to whatever city they want to set on fire and make chaos, and then they post bail for them and let them out of jail. Now, stop with the race nonsense. This has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with whose side are you on, which belief set do you have. If you're on the left, you're good. If you're on the right, you're not. It's like I said, I made a video about this less than 24 hours from the day everything went down at the Capitol. I made it on the 5th. It was late that night, but it was on the 5th. I made my first video actually, and I said something to think about and be careful with. I said in that video, half this country was going to get pissed off and lose their minds, and that the media was banking on it. And I was proven right, and I was also proven right because, like I said, I warned you. I said so. I said it. One side stands up. They're freedom fighters. They're liberators. They're heroes. They're speaking the language of the oppressed. Other side, you are racist bigots that need to be rounded up and arrested and canceled. Just something to think about. Remember, I'm not on the left. I'm not on the right. I'm a constitutionalist. I'm not Republican or Democrat. So I will call both sides out as I see fit. So, just something to think about.